All right, well, welcome everybody to our first 10 a.m. Collider coffee break. This is a new thing that we're trying to do every Friday just to let you know what we're working on and the latest news from Collider. And a reminder as well, Collider is a 501c3 nonprofit based in Rochester that supports Rochester entrepreneurs through events, education, space, and storytelling. And I think the best way to stay up to date with what we're doing is to sign up for our newsletter. So I really recommend doing that, and it gets to you every Sunday morning. So we're going to start first hearing from Jamie. So I'll let him take it away and tell us what he's been working on.
Great. Well, welcome, everyone. I am here in Collider Co-working, which is something that has been a labor of love over the last month as we've worked to reopen under the current circumstances. So just some stuff about Collider Co-working right now. So Collider Co-working, just as a reminder, is the co-working space that is part of Collider, which is the 501c3 organization. And really, it's one of my main responsibilities here as part of the team at Collider. We were very, very fortunate that over the last month, we've worked together not only as a community internally and within Rochester, but throughout the entire state as well, meeting with different co-working spaces, trying to understand the best practices to reopen and reopen safely for our members. And we were fortunate enough in the last 4 weeks to reopen our doors to our members, which has been great to start to see faces coming into Collider again and starting to reconnect maybe some of those relationships that we didn't necessarily, that we maybe lost over the last 2 months of being in isolation. So again, we are now open. Our door is unlocked. Anyone can come in. We have instituted a number of safety protocols. So of course, safety of our members is our top priority. And we do things like daily cleanings, hourly cleanings of touchable surfaces like door handles and stuff like that. And then of course, we're encouraging the use of masks. And we even have, if you don't have a mask, we will provide you with a fantastic Collider branded mask that you can take home with you. And then after every use, so I'm talking to you right now from our one of our quiet rooms here at Collider, and after each use, it's great to have props. We can sanitize the room, and then we let it stand for about 15 minutes before anyone else is allowed in. So again, really thinking about your safety and the safety of our members is our top priority. Just this Monday, we unlocked our doors to everyone, and we're also allowing small groups to come in for meetings. So if you know of a member here at Collider and you typically meet with them at Collider, we've let all of our members know that now you can have the option of meeting up here. The biggest reminder is just to check in at sort of the front door. We have a touchless check-in system where you basically use your smartphone to scan a QR code and just log in. And all we need to know is that you were here from a certain time. And that's very, very important. We hope this never happens, but if we do have someone in our space test positive, that we can go back and do the responsible thing and let you know that you may have been exposed. So that's why we're doing that. So yeah, it's nice to see people coming back in. It's great to see, to hear noise happening in the space again. We've removed almost 60% of our desks, which is a little bit crazy. But we really wanted to make sure that we're maintaining that 6 to 7 foot distance between all of our members, as well as providing various spaces to sort of flow in and out of the space without coming into contact with too many people. So we hope that the trends continue statewide in a positive direction, so that we can more fully open and kind of, it's hard to say in this world, but get back to normal, with an asterisk, of course. But we hope that if things continue in this direction, that we would like to be, fully reopened and ready to go within the next month. But we'll see what happens. So that's kind of what's going on with the co-working space. The other thing I wanted to chat just briefly about is our first class. So we just announced this week a class, or what we should be calling maybe a program, called the Basics of Entrepreneurship from Idea to Customer. And this will be an 8-week course that will begin July 7th and run through August 24th, I believe. And really what it is it's based on a great book that I meant to bring in here and I forgot, called Disciplined Entrepreneurship. And what we're doing is we're sort of dividing that book up a little bit, and we're really focusing on the first 6 modules or 6 steps of disciplined entrepreneurship in this program. It's a very self-guided program, so we will assign reading in the book, and we'll have some resources available for you as well. But we really want you to sort of jump in and put your time into this. And then once a week, we will have a facilitated discussion session, which will run from 5 p.m. to 7 p.m. That will give you a chance to ask questions, to interact with fellow peers taking the class. And then we'll also be introducing a special speaker that will speak on some of the topics that were covered in the reading. And really the goal with this is to help you determine maybe you think entrepreneurship is for you, but maybe it isn't. So there's a lot of self-assessment work to see if you're ready to take on that entrepreneurial journey. And then start to think about the idea that you may have and how you can start testing that and finding, what your primary market is. How do you start to engage in conversations with potential customers? So we'll be going through a lot of that, and the hope is that once you finish this program, you'll be able to move very quickly into your business. And then hopefully we'll have some more programming for you in the fall. So if you're interested in the class, just check out collider.mn/BOE for Basics of Entrepreneurship, BOE. We're doing really well right now. We've already got 9 people registered, and it's only really been disseminated over the last couple of days. So feel free to check it out and sign up. And that's kind of what's going on at Collider Coworking and with some of our educational initiatives. And with that, I'm going to turn it back to Amanda.
I have the book. I think your book's on my desk over there.
I took it back today.
And I love, this is my favorite part of it, because I think before when we've run classes, we've done this is like the whole entrepreneurial journey, and we've tried to fit all of that into a class. So we're only doing the blue. So this is and that's very beginnings and a lot slower than we've done previously. So I think that's lessons learned on our parts too, of, the pace of these programs that's successful.
Yeah, and I think, if you look at our ecosystem, I think people are really focused on that early stage, that ideation, that understanding if you're really ready to be an entrepreneur and take that journey. And I think that's super valuable. I see, a lot of people get quite a long ways down that path and realize, this journey isn't for them. And so I think a very important first step in this program is to identify if you are ready to take that entrepreneurial journey. So I'm really excited about the class, and hopefully we can have a successful pilot, and you'll see more of these classes in the future.
So, I'm going to take most of my time to talk about this Ecosystem Navigator program. So this has been the largest part of my time at Collider that's focused on. This Navigator program is funded through the Ewing Marion Kauffman Foundation. So a lot of you may be aware of this grant that we received in the fall time that was kind of publicized in the community. But I wanted to talk a little bit more about exactly what we're doing with this grant. So really this grant was to set up what we're calling an Ecosystem Navigator program. So I think we all know kind of community connectors in the community that are very helpful to identify resources and kind of get you connected in. So that's kind of the basis of this program, especially to help with underserved populations in our community. So the goal with this program is to kind of activate and identify these 3 ecosystem navigators, as we're calling them. They're not consultants. They would meet with entrepreneurs within their community, really listen, really understand where that entrepreneur is on a personal and professional level and be able to rapidly connect them to what they need next to further their business. So that's kind of the whole goal with this program. So we are looking to contract on 3 individuals by the end of summer, and you'll hear more of that as we go along. But this has been really a lot of what I've been focused on over the past, well, since October. To start this program and really kind of to understand where the ecosystem is at in Rochester, we started this journey by doing 100 interviews in person, listening sessions, I guess is a better way to put it than interviews. They were listening sessions with entrepreneurial service organizations and entrepreneurs in the community. And for those of you not very familiar with what an entrepreneurial service organization is, it's basically any organization that assists entrepreneurs in some manner. So that would be Collider, that would be something like the Rochester Area Chamber of Commerce, that could be something like Diversity Council, anyone who assists people in business development in some manner or supports entrepreneurs in some manner. So I started talking with these individuals in the late fall time and then expanded to entrepreneurs. I ended up sitting down and listening to 100 different people in the community, really in a broad range of industry, broad range of demographics. When we looked at the entrepreneurs, I talked to, and now I'm forgetting the number now that I'm on the spot, but the majority, over half of those entrepreneurs were people of color. I believe it was 59% of the entrepreneurs were people of color. So we were really trying to enrich that for diversity. And really the goal with these listening sessions was to understand the journey of that entrepreneur and what gaps and assets they saw in the community, especially in regards to inclusivity, connection to resources. And we wanted to understand what resources they were using in the community, how they were using them, when they were using them, and if they felt there was access to them or knew they existed. So that's kind of where we started. And since it was good timing that those interviews were done right when we went into quarantine, so I've spent March through now really diving into that data, and we're working on the best way to communicate that with the public, with our board, and also with other ESOs in the community, entrepreneurial service organizations in the community. So I'm really excited to move forward with this project, really excited to identify these ecosystem navigators that can help our entrepreneurs in this community connect with resources. So please continue to follow us and hear what we're doing. This is something that's really hard to communicate what we're doing because it's, it takes time, but it's something that we're really excited about, excited to get that increased inclusivity and really to help as many people as possible, not just in medical, not just in high tech, but all of our entrepreneurs operating in all of our different spectrums. So that's what we are doing. So look for more communications to come out about that over the course of this summer. Lastly, what I want to wrap up with is our stories on Rochester Rising this week. It was a full week. We started out with a piece from our contributing writer, Natalie Slagle, about 1 Million Cups Rochester. So this has transitioned to more virtual since April, I think. March, I think it was in person, since April. So really since April, we've heard how businesses have adapted during COVID-19. So in Natalie's summary, she talked about, or we heard from Terra Loco, Roasted Bliss, and Do Learning and Development. So I won't go into much more detail, but you can check it out in Natalie's story. The next 1 Million Cups Rochester will be on July 1st at 8:45 a.m. Again, it will be a Zoom webinar. And on July 1st, we'll hear from Fuse Financial Planning and also ASER, which is a nonprofit that has an exciting new program to support Latino entrepreneurs here in Rochester. And actually the last day to sign up for that program is today, Friday, June 19th. So you can go to ASER's website, HACER, I believe it's .com, you can Google it, and fill out their survey for the ability to participate in that program. This week we aired podcast episode 180, where I got to sit down virtually with small business owner Danny Trester, who runs Trester Taylor here in town. So Danny does alterations on men's and women's clothing. She's located on Broadway across from Taco Bell, as she noted, because people know where Taco Bell is. But also she had been working on a lot of video tutorials about tailoring, and she was able to use the quarantine time to kind of finish that and launch that. So that's what we talked about, as well as deck maintenance on our homes and how big of a problem that is. So you can check that out. And lastly, we are very excited to say that our Rochester web-based app that some of you may be familiar with, we believe that it's really reached its goal, and we're actually kind of sunsetting that program. So Rochester was a web-based application that we built as volunteers with our friend Nate Nordstrom at Brandhoot. And really, it was built in the end of March to help connect customers with the restaurant scene, the small business shops, and communicate hours, best ways to buy products or buy food. So that's been very successful. In the first 2 months it was launched, it had 10,000 views, and there was over 200 different businesses listed in there. So it fulfilled its need. We're starting to open up again. So we're, excited to say that we're able to close that chapter and move on to other ways to help entrepreneurs. So that's the stories that we told this week. That's what I've been working on. Jamie, do you have anything else to add before we sign off?
Well, speaking of work, I just noticed as I'm looking behind me, so you see our fine friends from Sherpa, Chris Lukenbill and Andy Vig. You might see Andy's over here, but just showing that entrepreneurs are hard at work, that they're challenges always throw curveballs at us, but the work of entrepreneurship needs to get done. And it was reminded as I was sitting here looking at the camera, I'm like, these guys are doing it every day. So really hats off to them, and congratulations to Sherpa for making it to the Minnesota Cup. So I remember about 5 years ago, I was sitting in a room with a group of, I guess what we would call ecosystem organizations now. And we made it a goal. We said, wouldn't it be cool if like someone got into the Minnesota Cup from Rochester? And it's funny, it just dawned on me that, that's becoming just a normal thing now, which really shows that our ecosystem has some awesome growth to it. So I just wanted to leave you with that. And yeah, that's about it for me.